Hope you're having a good day. This is a interesting little plant. It was sold to me as a star jasmine, which I have all but positively identified. Well, it's definitely not a star jasmine. It's a Wrightia species of some sort, I do believe. I'm going to have it in the title and the description. I do believe that its nickname is the Arctic Rose, Arctic Snow maybe, something like that. And I cannot pronounce the Wrightia species. I repotted, I got two of them. I repotted both of them last year. And you can see this one's flowering out really nicely. I don't see a lot of people keeping them as bonsai. And I think, you know, it's part of the reasoning, living just fine in the pot. But it gets all these really tender shoots with the flowers on them. And just so thin and tender, like I said, I can't imagine trying to wire them like that. And then they're not that much bigger, and then they just kind of, you know, they lignify really quick after that, which then they'll snap. And then the other problem is, kind of like with the water jasmine, which is also a Wrightia species, you can only really see those blooms when they're hanging down. These, like, they all get these straight shoots up, and really just looking at it, like right now, you can barely even see them. And you actually got to be standing on top of it, really looking down at it to see the blooms. I am just going to sneak this in on the other video I'm doing today. I'm doing a video on a ficus today. I was trying to find some other flowering species I might be able to sneak this in with, but I really couldn't find any. I bought it as a bush. I was going to keep it as a bush in my yard. And it just actually, like, things grow so quickly in the tropics, it kind of was getting crowded over by two other bushes, and it was getting kind of dwarfed in there. And it was in a spot where even I kept forgetting it was at. I kept stepping on it. I had some guests stepping on it and everything. So I just tried to dig it up, put it in a pot. You can see it's doing well. We'll see how it goes in the future. I did do two main chops right here. I have pruned it some since then. I definitely pruned it when I got it in this pot last year when I repotted it and everything. I don't think I got very good blooms last year. I got a few, not too many. I'm going to shorten it up quite a bit. And definitely try to prune some of these branches that are kind of growing on top of each other here. I just kind of noticed that one was there. Started down low just because that's what I was looking at while I was talking. I really meant to kind of start up a little higher here. And again, I do want to shorten it up some so you can see where that's a really long shoot with then like three really small ones coming off of that. And that's basically what I'm going to do all the way around, is try to just kind of come around to where, if I'm not going to be able to wire it, at least I can create a little taper within it. I'm going to try to get all the blooms that are coming out as well down here lower. Just trying to see if I can get it to kind of back bud a little bit. And I'll probably just go ahead and just like leave it alone for a long time. And by a long time, I mean like maybe like this time next year. So we've been blooming straight for about a month. I noticed I had a bunch of blooms about a month ago. Alright, got plenty of growing season left. Should get plenty of back budding. Alright, when I did dig it up, I'm still kind of in disbelief that this one lived. I did repot this one last year as well. Got a couple blooms on top. Doesn't have quite as much to it. It's have a really interesting base here. That was actually one of the reasons why when I dug it up and it broke off that main bush there, I went ahead and tried to keep it and figured I could make this some kind of an exposed root one day. But I'm just going to do the same to it. Don't really want all these long lanky branches sticking way up. Keep forgetting, I've been to the nursery a few times this summer, and I keep forgetting one of the things I want to look for is a pot just slightly bigger and wider than this one. And there we go, a little bit of a closer up look. Got a little bit of lichen, a little air plant growing there. I like things like that. Some people don't, I do. Alright, and here is today's subject. It's a Ficus Microcarpa. This is a tiger bark. It is a 3-year-old cutting. It was a sacrifice branch on another tree. I took it, and last year, like I said, it was April of 2021. Most of these pictures are from April of 2021. The rest of them are anything else to look at would be in the playlist and videos. Last March, I got it in this much shallower, wider pot, just in the hopes that I can just get the roots to spread out some. I'm going to try to leave it in this pot for a few years, see if I can get a good root spread on it before I try to repot it again. And I have left it alone since then. And today I'm going to get it a hard prune. I may or may not get some wire on it at the end of the video. It's just kind of going to depend on what I see and how I feel about it when I get there. I would start off with a lower branch, but I think this branch here might be a little easier for me to just kind of show you what it is I'll be doing, a little easier for you guys to kind of visualize. First off, I know I get a lot of people that say, especially for this type right here, that I should just cut everything way back, wire it or whatever I'm going to do, and then let it back bud. The problem I've had with tiger bark so far is that when I do that, when I cut everything back, all of the growth I get, none of the growth comes out of the end of the branches anymore. All the growth just kind of comes up randomly straight up, which is great because, you know, ficus will definitely back bud as much as you need them to. But at the same time, I want some of the branch to be the direction I'm putting it. So if I leave some growing tips, say like if on this one here, if I was to wire it down and leave some growing tips, I get some movement, leave that growth there, and then instead of just getting random growth coming up off the top of the branch like that, it actually grows out with the branch. But when I look at this, you know, it's like this one is actually not a typical branch. This one I'm going to cut off completely because it is coming out of the bottom of that right there. I think I actually meant to do this demonstration with this branch because it's a little easier to show. Sorry about that. But you can see here, the last time I cut it, the last time I did a major chop to it, which was probably when I did do the repot, and, you know, sticking straight up there. But then now at this point here, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sub branches there, all of them with the same taper and all that. And so what I'm going to do with that guy is just cut it down to the one branch there. And then, like, and now that I know it was this branch that I was originally talking about, I guess I could have it over here. This branch is pretty much coming out from the bottom, so I want to keep that one. And then this one, again, you can see the chop here, see where it's been growing straight up there, and this one has 3 branches that are all the same taper. And so I'm going to take out the 2 tallest ones and just leave the short one. And then what I'm thinking is I'll probably need to go ahead and just get some wire on the secondary branch. I won't be doing any of the primary branches today for sure, but just get some wire on these secondary branches just because, again, I don't want them to continue just growing straight up like that. I would like some lateral growth. So I'm just going to kind of work my way up from there. Once I go through, and so what I'll be doing is every little cluster of branches, I'll just be coming down to the lowest one. Once I go through and do all of that, I may come back and just kind of notice maybe some ones that were growing straight up that I didn't really realize. It's a little awkward that I didn't really realize, things like that. But that is just the general plan. See, this thing's got a few fruit on there. This one's actually kind of getting a little bit of color. I'm not an expert on the wasp that figs take to get fertilized, or even growing by seed. I haven't even tried yet. Everything that I have, you know, that's come close to growing like that, I've just always been able to take cuttings from, so I've never tried to grow any by seed. It's got to go there. Alright, that is what I've been thinking of as the front. I'm going to hold off on the apex until I get the wire on there. And I think I'm going to go ahead and try to get the wire on some of these secondary branches here. See how it's going to turn out. And then decide what I'm going to do here with the apex. Alright, tree is never quite as photogenic at the end as I would have thought. But it is what it is. There are a couple, a couple thoughts that I have that I didn't really include at the beginning. I do have my mind on some other things today, but first off, the lowest branch is probably going to be the back branch. One of the reasons why I've kind of enjoyed growing trees from cuttings is I don't really want to have to worry about chop marks and things like that. I kind of wanted to get some twists and turn in it from the beginning, and then it just kind of turned out where I really almost can incorporate this branch into a front of any sort. And then I've got, here, looking at it from this way, that would be a left branch. And then the next branch up is thicker than that one. And of course, there's some, old guys out there that'll tell me, well, just cut everything down and start over. I really don't want to do that. So I'm just kind of working with what I got here. So doing my best. There were a couple... like this branch right here, you can see I left the wire loose on a few of these just so as I can see if I want to adjust it a little bit as it starts budding out. This one was almost coming straight up, but I did want to leave this and get wire on this, and I had to anchor it to something, so I anchored it to this one. When I take the wire off, I may end up taking that off. I do think I cut enough of the growing tips where this is still going to backbud like crazy and get a bunch of that straight up growth. But I think like if I just kind of get this wire off when it starts biting in and then resist the urge to prune all that stuff, might even get some more workable branches in there, and we'll see what happens. I did say I was going to hold off on the apex. You can see here, just following the trunk line up, and it comes way out here, which is nice. But at the same time, I do want to kind of, keep the taper going here and everything. So I'm just going to go ahead and chop off that part and let that become the new apex and not cut any of that back. I will let that just kind of grow straight out there. Keep some momentum going there. I'm just going to, little chop scar there, just going to cut back some. And we'll see what it looks like.